Hey there, it's Steve from Serious Keto, and this is the Not So Serious Keto video podcast. Now, you may have noticed that I have been absent for the past week, and that's because I have had, and still do have, bronchitis, which also will explain why periodically my voice may get a little bit raspy as I'm trying not to cough. There will also probably be a lot of little jump cuts in this podcast, more than normal, just because I probably am having a coughing fit. Anyhow, I have had bronchitis now for closing in on 2 weeks. And after I hit about day 8 of just this perpetual coughing, and I mean, it has been bad, almost impossible to sleep. Terry's got it too, and we must just sound horrible at night. It's probably good that we don't have any visitors or our kids staying with us because they wouldn't get any sleep because of all of our coughing. But after 8 days, I'm like, I've had enough. I'm going to the doctor. Whatever this is, I should have turned the corner by now. And went to the doctor, and they said, if it's been 8 days, then, we're not even going to bother testing for, COVID or influenza or anything like that. We're just going to get you in, have an x-ray, make sure you don't have pneumonia. And interestingly, on the x-ray, they discovered something that I had kind of thought was the case. And that was my back had been broken at some point in the past. In fact, I know exactly when it happened. I think I was 23, and there was some drinking involved, and a friend and I were basically doing some, WWE wrestling and, horsing around, and he jumped on me, and I felt it. I felt my back. I heard the crack, and I couldn't feel my legs. And I thought, okay, I just got paralyzed. I mean, I was scared, but gradually, the feeling kind of came back, and my back was in not good shape for quite a while. And turns out I did in fact break it. And I'm kind of surprised, given that I've had a number of chest X-rays over the years, that this is the first time anybody has mentioned it or called it out. But anyhow, I'm now on the second to last day of my antibiotics. I've got an inhaler, and today was the first day that I've actually been able to talk long enough to do a podcast or shoot a video. So hopefully I am turning the corner, because I've got a lot of video that I've shot, some product review stuff and some cooking stuff that I've shot the video of, of my hands making it and everything, but I need to record the intro and outro and voiceover. And my voice just hasn't been up to it. So I suspect that this week we will get back on a regular schedule. There may be even a little extra content this week, just because I've got a little bit of a backlog, in terms of stuff that I've recorded. One of the things that I had written down for a podcast, and this would have been pre-bronchitis, I like covering from time to time the happy side effects of keto that you don't really expect. And one of the things that I noticed as I was bounding up the stairs from the man cave back, upstairs, and that was just how good it feels to be able to bound upstairs. Pre-keto, and part of it was, that I was pretty heavy, I was winded. Just a single flight of stairs, I would go up and I would be breathing heavy. But the other big benefit of keto is the lack of inflammation. My knees just used to hurt so bad going upstairs or downstairs, and they don't anymore. So I was going to cover this as a topic, and then I got sick, and just going upstairs, it reminded me again of what it felt like pre-keto. I was weak and achy, and, because I got the bronchitis, a little bit out of breath. And the reason I bring that up is because I just think from time to time, when we start feeling better, we take it for granted, how good we feel, and we forget how things used to be pre-keto. And it's something I never want to forget. I never want to go back to. So I like doing it both for my benefit as a reminder to myself how good it feels on keto, but then also for you. So if you've got some quality of life improvement that you've seen that you from time to time take for granted, and maybe this has just triggered a memory for you, let me know down in the comments below. One last thing on the whole being sick. Back before I knew what I had, I just thought it was like a cold and cough flu thing. So I took some Theraflu, and I don't know what the ingredients are in Theraflu, but I think it was a 66-point spike in my glucose as measured by my continuous glucose monitor. Crazy. And I bring that up just as sort of a little cautionary tale, if you will, that, medicines very often, over-the-counter medicines, I don't think they have like a specific ingredient list. So be aware that some of these things could have the potential to spike your glucose. I don't know if, it would knock you out of ketosis, but just something to be aware of. And I guess sort of continuing the theme of taking things for granted, I think one of the things that since Amazon came along that we really take for granted, especially if you've got Amazon Prime, is free shipping. I mean, I know it's not free, it's, I'm sure, baked into the price somehow, but we've gotten spoiled, and I'm probably especially spoiled because I live right between two Amazon distribution centers. They're like, one is a half hour away, the other's 45 minutes away. So I can order something at 10 in the morning and have it by 3 in the afternoon. It's crazy. I mean, I think about when I was a kid and going through the Sears or JCPenney catalog, and you would go to the catalog counter and fill out a card to order whatever, this thing was, and it would take 6 to 8 weeks before you'd get it. And the reason I bring this up is there have been a lot of comments on the UnbelievaBuns video that I did where people are concerned about shipping, both time and the time factor is because they're running way behind. Somebody, I guess, created a little too much demand for their product, but they're ramping up. They're, I believe, engaging a second bakery to help make this stuff, and they think that fairly soon they will be able to kick out 4 to 5 times the amount of orders they're currently doing. So that's good. But right now there is a delay, and I understand, people are used to getting things right away. The other complaint that I've seen in the comments is the cost of the shipping. And it gets more expensive the further away from the East Coast you are. I think orders over $20 on UnbelievaBuns, if you're on the East Coast, it's free shipping. But because they ship expedited 2-day shipping, they don't want the product sitting out, in nature, because there's no preservatives. It's freshly baked. They don't want it out being trapped in shipping, over a weekend or something like that. So they ship expedited 2-day shipping, and that gets more expensive the further away from the East Coast you are. So I had some viewer, I think in Alaska, the price was just insane. It was going to be like $60 for shipping, and it's unfortunate, but that's the explanation on that. And I think we all need to sort of admit that we've gotten a little bit spoiled by things like Amazon Prime and their shipping. One of the questions that I'll get from people a lot in my comments is, what do you do for maintenance mode? So once you've hit your ideal weight or the weight that you're comfortable at, how do you change up your keto? And my opinion on this is, if you enjoy keto, and I enjoy keto, I don't feel at all restricted in what I can eat, I'll just eat more of what I already eat. So that's one way you can approach it. But I think another way, and Dr. Eric Westman talks about this in his book, End Your Carb Confusion, he sort of sets up like 3 different tiers. So you're first on a very strict keto, and then as you start reaching your goals, it loosens up a little bit more. So you can start adding things like more berries, for example. He's got the full list in his book. It's probably the best book on keto that I think I've read. In fact, I'll link to it down in the description below, because I honestly think anybody that's doing keto or thinking about doing keto should probably read that book. To me, the challenge sort of with maintenance mode is, I think sometimes it can be a little bit of a slippery slope when you start adding back in foods. I think some of the products, like the keto tortillas and keto breads, I personally have to be fairly careful with those, because if I eat those a couple days in a row, I'll start seeing a change in my weight. And it's very easy when you've got a packet of bread or tortillas in the fridge to just sort of keep going at them once you start, at least for me. So to kind of continue with that and talk about weighing myself or yourself, I get that question a lot too. Like, how often should you weigh yourself? And I tried a little experiment, because I've been weighing myself every day for, I don't know, 5 years, longer than that maybe. And I decided I wouldn't weigh myself for a month and just see what would happen. Does it change anything about my weight loss or weight gain or just general happiness? Let's see. And I put on like 4.5 pounds over the course of that month. And I think that for me, that daily weighing, I got to do it. I need that metric. I'm very metric driven. So some people, that's not a good thing because they kind of go on an emotional roller coaster. Why am I not losing weight? Why did I put on a couple of pounds? Things like that. And I think that kind of dictates how often you should weigh yourself. I think there should be some regularity to it. Maybe it's once a week. If you find you're seeing a lot of fluctuations in your weight, maybe you weigh once a week. But for me, I've really kind of decided it needs to be a daily thing. But that's just my opinion. That's the strategy that works for me. If you have one that works for you that you'd like to share with us all, let me know down in the comments below. And speaking of comments, one of the other comments that I get all the time is, where did you get that shirt? Now the problem is, I don't know, as I'm looking at the comments, what shirt you're talking about. So I would have to go into the video, see what shirt I was wearing. If it's something I shot over multiple days, I may be wearing multiple shirts. So help me help you. Help me answer your question by, if I'm wearing a shirt, describe the shirt to me. Where did you get that Pizza Planet shirt or something like that? And the answer most of the time is $6shirts.com. Not affiliate marketing partner or anything like that. It's just when I lost 75 pounds or 80 pounds, whatever it was, I basically needed a new wardrobe. All of my shirts were extra large and they were tight on me as extra large. So I had to replace a ton of t-shirts going down to large and now medium. And I didn't feel like spending a whole bunch of money. So I went out, $6 shirts. I love like the little humorous shirts they've got and the pop culture references and all of that. So it really worked out well in terms of both creating a new wardrobe for myself, but then also something that I feel is sort of reflective of my unique and quirky personality. But because I feel like my voice is starting to fade on me a little bit here, I don't think I can extend this podcast any further. This will be the end of this podcast. Like I said, I will get back onto the regular video release schedule this week. So thanks for your patience over the past week. And as always, thanks for watching.